Hey guys, it's Will.
I'm Mike.
Welcome to First Watch, the show that's part review, part reaction. Today is a very exciting day.
It is.
I think for both of us
Oh, yeah.
and for Jim, who's behind the camera and is a big fan of both Donna and Taryn. We have with us Picasso Trigger, Andy Sidaris. So as you may or may not know, Mill Creek is releasing basically, I think all
12.
So they've done
Yeah.
4 Andy Sidaris films on Blu-ray. They have 2 more coming out in. Are they coming out in September of 2019?
I think so.
This came out in July of 2019 along with Savage Beach. This movie is called Picasso Trigger. It is the 3rd film in the BBB series, which is Bullets, Bombs, and Babes, right?
Yep.
If you're unfamiliar with Andy Sidaris, he is an Emmy-winning sports director. Directed the Olympics. He directed basketball, NBA finals, and stuff like that.
He's just like,
And
fuck
then
it.
in
I
his
want to do this stuff
in
now.
his later career, he made basically like ground zero for what I've begun calling Trashterpiece, which is a masterpiece of trash. And trash in the best way possible, not in an insulting way.
Yeah.
Like, these movies are incredible and clearly made by people who know that they're not making great movies.
Yeah,
and they're also like the epitome of the 80s.
Yeah.
Because it's just like naked women everywhere, dudes with huge muscles, shit blowing up constantly, oftentimes for no reason, rocket launchers, helicopters,
all that,
machine
all that
guns.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Wave runners. I don't know if it's in this one or the other one.
Savage Beach.
Yeah, they have wave runners. So,
But
like,
no, but in this one too.
This one too.
Oh my god.
This one has the boat, right? And then they steal the boat and they return it to a different place.
No,
And
this
what
is
was that?
the
Or
this
that
has
other
the
one?
scene at the end where there's the guy escapes on a hovercraft and the other guy goes after him
Oh,
on a
yeah,
jet
yeah.
ski. Yeah.
This one also has the boats, though. There's a river chase.
Oh yeah, the riverboat.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
riverboat's
So
pretty
we'll
cool.
get into that.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of cool stuff, as you can
so
tell.
this movie is the 3rd film in this series. Like I said, the first one is Malibu Express. The second one is Hard Ticket to Hawaii, and then this is the one, as best as I can tell, doing minimal research, but having watched them, where they start trying to be like, this is a series of interconnected films, like a cinematic universe, because the Donna Spear and Hope Marie Carlton, who are both Playboy playmates, who are in a lot of these films, play the same characters in this movie that they played in the previous movie, and they are like secret government
They're
agents
yeah.
in Hawaii, whose cover is they run like a sightseeing plane business in Hawaii. And they work with a guy with long curly hair who's a kickboxer whose name I can never remember, but he was like an actual champion kickboxer, and he does like a lot of fun
Yeah.
fight scenes. And then there's always like a male agent in the plot, but in each movie it's a different guy, but they have the same surname. So it's like, are they brothers? Are they cousins? I don't really know.
Just never know.
And then they're somehow related to the private detective in the first film.
Jim's just dying
he
over there.
can't stand it. He loves it
It's
too
so
much.
good.
It's all the same person, just different actors. The same family.
But yeah, we don't really know. It's a little confusing. But so Roberta Vasquez, this is her first
Of these.
Andy
I don't know if
Sidaris
it's-
film.
yeah,
So
I
she
don't
was
know if
also a
she's in other ones.
playmate. She is Latina. Obviously, you can tell that by her name, which sets her apart from like the deluge of blonde women in these movies.
Yeah.
I think there's 7 playmates in this movie.
That's
so they
where
got
he
like
cast-
a ton
he
of
cast
free.
them from there.
Well, and it's genius because they got nonstop free advertising from the Playboy channel for this movie. There's like commercials on the Blu-ray as bonus features where you see like the Playboy channel advertising. And so this movie is interesting because the first 2 are just like ridiculous, trashy. What is going on? Half of it makes no sense. Like amazing bad 80s movies. This one is it gets a little more serious. Like it's darker, right?
There's a little plot and there's like little international intrigue about like
Yeah, it's almost like
killing an agent overseas, and there's like an assassin, and there's like all this other stuff. They actually shot. It looked like they shot on location. Where is it?
it starts in Paris.
In Paris.
Obviously, they sent one person with
Oh,
a
yeah,
camera
definitely,
to
to get,
film
like,
the
2
main
shots.
sites in Paris because after you cut away from the Eiffel Tower,
It's clearly
the house that they're at
California,
is
yeah.
obviously California.
But it's like so basically.
and then
like,
Texas, they film in
yeah, they filmed
Texas.
But he like I think in one of his behind the scenes, he basically says that he does all his casting from Playmates, right? And it's basically like nowadays you would cast like social media people to get their viewers
you
to
already
watch.
this built an audience.
It's built an
right?
audience, so he just gets a bunch of them. And fun fact, I don't know if you knew this, but the interconnected universe in this is basically where Marvel got their idea for their
Yeah,
interconnected
okay,
universe.
Yeah,
It's a true story.
It's a true story.
It's a true story. Look it up.
So, the plot, Picasso Trigger is the code name of an agent who is shot at the beginning of the movie.
He's like an assassin.
Right,
And,
an international assassin or something like that. He gets killed at the beginning of the movie, and then the brother of the guy who died in Hard Ticket to Hawaii is out for revenge, and that ties into the Picasso Trigger plot. So the government agents, who consist of 7 playmates, and the two guys.
Yeah. And
They hatch a
basically-
plot. Yeah. Oh, and there's also like
They're getting wiped out, right?
there's a
They're-
mobster in Las Vegas who works for a guy who makes snuff films with prostitutes.
It's surprisingly dark, yeah. I
Well,
was
but it's
"Dude."
like, so this movie, to me, like the most obvious comparison is if you took the kind of the silliness and the preposterousness of the previous films, and then you kind of took like some Scarface influence. And the thing that it really reminds me of actually is the Timothy Dalton James Bond movies. If anybody's familiar with those, Living Daylights, and especially the one with Benicio del Toro, License to Kill. Because that's about drug runners, and it's like very violent and dark for a James Bond movie. But it's like, this is a similar international espionage movie, but there's lots of naked women, and it's very silly. But then there's also this kind of weird darkness that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, like, because, like, in a film like the dying is usually over the top and comical. Like, people getting blown up with rocket launches, but, like...
Or
this
that
guy's-
scene where he throws that guy out the window for no reason.
Yeah,
There's a
like
scene where he
this one
beats
where
a guy
he's,
up,
like,
completely
yeah.
knocked out, and then he just throws him out to, like, the top floor of a skyscraper.
It's fun. But, like, this one, when they talk about, like, making snuff films, it's like, ah, damn, that's
Like,
really
where did that
dark
come from?
For
Yeah.
a film like this, and then... Yeah.
You don't see the snuff film.
No.
Spoiler alert, but yeah, it doesn't ruin your fun.
But it's like, damn, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he could have just been making, like,
And there's
porn
like
or
there's
something,
these
but,
two
like,
women
no.
in Vegas who have like a sexy, barely clothed dance routine who are also undercover
a nice
agents
scene.
who are spying on the snuff film guys. And so
There's
it's
the
like
bodybuilder from the second one is now a good guy, and it's like the same actor. And he's
right,
just, like,
but
a giant
he
dude.
plays one of the henchmen in Malibu Express, and in
now
this
he's, like, a good
so
guy.
this is like it's almost like if you did like a Playboy Channel goofy version of an '80s James Bond movie. That's
exactly
kind of what
what it
this is.
is.
But it's like very fun.
It's fun.
and silly.
I was actually kind
and-
of, I was a little surprised because, like, you know, there's a helicopter, there's a pretty nice, like, boat chase in a river. Like I know it's not a
Yes.
big budget film, but there is some, like, stuff in it. Like, there is some money in
the
this,
in the
right?
boat show, the boat chase.
Yeah, that's
this
amazing.
woman steals a boat, drives it down the river. They're shooting all these people going crazy, whatever. She at the end of the chase, she pulls into a. I mean, they're like miles away,
Miles.
and some woman comes up to her and is like, "Hey, you took my boat." It's like,
like, why would
Why
you-
are you here? Why weren't you in
That-
the first place where the boat was? And then she gives her money for the boat rental.
She's like,
and
whatever.
She's like, okay,
even though they
cool,
were shooting
thank
guns
you.
and stuff. I love how in these movies there's never a police presence, even though these people are, like, shooting rocket launchers, murdering people, throwing people off out of skyscrapers in, like, a densely populated area. There's no police.
Nope.
So-
But that just makes it easier.
Yeah, it just
but,
makes it easier.
But it's almost like there was a revelation, like to try to describe how this movie differs from the others if you care. Like at some point after they made the second one, they were like, oh, screenwriting.
Yeah.
We should try that. So this is like the one where they actually tried to write a movie.
Because there is, like, there's some twists in it.
And there's
some,
intrigue and like
some
stuff is
intrigue.
set up that they come back
There's almost
to.
like a little
and, like,
plot line.
very
and stuff.
rarely, like in Malibu Express and Hard Ticket to Hawaii, there's plot elements and scenes and characters that just appear, and you're like, what the fuck? And then they disappear.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's amazing and it's hilarious and it's really fun, but it is kind of like, there are parts watching those movies you're like, I don't even know where I am right now in the
Yeah.
movie. But this is like a very direct linear story, but it includes all the fun, silly.
And like the other ones, this has the special features. It has, like, the making of and the behind the
The film school
scenes.
thing is
The film
awesome. So
school thing
Andy
is fun.
Sidaris
He
and
always
his
does
wife, who was his producer, they do a thing on the bonus features here where they take you through scenes from their movies and show you like we shot this shot and then we shot the reverse shot and then we did the medium close up and it took us this long to do it and we did it in these locations
And if anyone, like, who's not involved in the film industry and is, like, sees, you know, making a film as a really glamorous thing, watch that, because even with, like, in a nice location in Hawaii with all these hot women around, it's like a really tedious process where they're shooting the same scene of, like, this woman getting something from the kitchen and walking back like 10 times, and then they flip it, get the other reactions. So you're literally just doing this thing over and over.
they
and
also
over.
tell you there's a scene where they blow up like a really expensive boat, and
one.
they're like, "Oh, that was a defect, and we got that because we cast the son of the boat manufacturer in the movie."
But that's smart. Like, sometimes, like, if you don't have a lot of money and you can make a local connection, like they shot that scene in Louisiana, and they'd worked with this guy before, and they needed a boat, but they couldn't afford, like, a $40,000 boat to blow up. And they're like, you know, we'll give you one of the defects ones if you just paint it and cast my son in this. And he's like, he's just like in a little scene without any speaking lines, but like
gets blown
that's
up.
pretty smart. That's how you gotta do stuff
So,
like that.
Picasso Trigger, I mean, at this point, my life goal is to either get cast in a series of films like this or make one myself.
We're gonna make them, yeah.
So we'll include links if you're on YouTube to where you can buy this and watch trailers and stuff. And then on Instagram and Facebook, we will tag the company so you can go find them and check this out.
Definitely check
These
it out.
movies are cheap as fuck. They're like, I don't know, like $10 on wherever, Best Buy, Amazon,
They're definitely worth
whatever.
it. Very fun.
Andy Sidaris, Picasso Trigger. Check it out.